Episode 2, The Akashic Records. Hello there, my dreamy people. This is Angelina Young on Journey Through the Dreamscape, and I am so happy and thankful for all of you who are joining me here today. As you have probably seen from the title, today we will be talking about the Akashic Records. But first, to start today's episode, I would like to read you all a poem I wrote called Clouded Thoughts. It's where I'm at when someone says my head is in the clouds. It's a wonderful place. It's daydreaming, and it goes something like this. I think at times, sometimes work, other play, beginning a new day, bridges of circles, in a loop, to read a million, room of mirrors. Marbles are full, thanks. Then it's a sense of earth, skyscraper rays, cutting through my sky, down to the ground. Why can't my head stay flying? Must I really come down? Within the clouds are passing thought. Lots of mixed-matched, unformulated words. Mashed potatoes are like a clouded thought, but in reverse. Back here, all I can do is make clear, concise sentences, and it's boring. I'd rather reddish for stop? Oh, not. And that was Clouded Thoughts. You can find my poem and many more of them on my website, angelinayoung.com. I also have a lovely book to recommend to you for this week, which is The 22 Starseed Groups by Sayce. I was curious about starseeds a while back and stumbled across this girl's website. Anna teaches a lot about starseeds, the Akashic Records, intuition, and more. Her book had a lot of information on the different types of soul groups there are and how you can identify yours. If you are curious like I was, I will leave the details down below in the description so you can check out her stuff. I will also be talking about starseeds in a future episode, so stay tuned for that, my beautiful people. I'd like to remind all my listeners that on my website, you can ask questions, submit feedback, and recommend weekly topics. It'd be super, super helpful and lovely to hear from all of you, so I look forward to that. You'll also find a tab on there to sign up for a dream interpretation privately or to be featured on this podcast. All notes and information for that will be in the description below. And please, if you enjoy the things I talk about, it'd mean the world to me if you shared it around for others to hear. Thank you so much again for being here, and I hope you join me after the break where we will learn about the Akashic Records. See you in a sec. Hi, everybody. As I said earlier, we're going to talk about the Akashic Records. Last week, I mentioned a book I read called The Akashic Records by Ernesto Ortiz. If you're curious about learning, I found this book super insightful. There was a lot on how to access the records for yourself and extra things about chakras, protection, and grace points. He also offers tons of example questions you can ask when starting out. I love that he included what other people who had practiced this had to say about it and what their experience was like. So I just want to note what I discussed today are the things I have learned about this subject so far. I am no expert, but I am always learning, just as all of you are. I find this topic super interesting, and it's a way for me to teach myself more as I gather information to share with all of you. So, if you're ready, I am ready to get into the topic. Many of you who are listening probably know something about the Akashic Records, but there may be a few of you out there wondering what the heck the Akashic Records are. Well, it's a place of knowledge for all life, past and present. Every thought, choice, action, intention, and outcome. It's a pool of information that is believed to be accessed through a specific meditation routine. It doesn't require a special gift or trait. Everyone has the capability of accessing the records with practice. Akasha is from the Sanskrit word akasa, which means sky, space, or ether. Ether comes from Plato and Aristotle, meaning the fifth element or quintessence, which is a godlike element that allows humans to connect to intuition and spirituality. Akasha is believed to have been around since the beginning of time. However, it is difficult to pinpoint where the Western influence on the subject truly began. Legends tell us that ancient cultures from the Indians and Moors to the Tibetans and Egyptians each believed in the existence of this mystical wisdom. The Mayans, Greeks, Christians, and many more are said to have tapped into the secrets as well. Deep within the ancient Himalayas, Indian sages had a concept that each soul documented every moment of its existence in a celestial book. They believed that by attuning oneself correctly, one could access this profound record, often referred to as the mind stream. Even Nostradamus claimed to have accessed Akasha. The word Akasha and the idea of this collection of universal knowledge comes from a 19th century movement called Theosophy. Theosophy is an occult movement that incorporates elements from ancient religions and myths with a particular emphasis on Buddhism and Brahmanic traditions. Its core teachings revolve around the idea that the ultimate goal of human life is spiritual liberation, saying that the human soul experiences reincarnation after death through the workings of karma. Theosophy promotes unity and understanding from people from all walks of life. It's important to understand that the Akashic Records are not tied to a religion or a culture. It belongs to the universe. Some people doubt the concept of the Akashic Records, saying it has been wrongly connected to many different historical religious figures and movements, but it is up to you to decide what your truth of the subject is. I am here to just tell you everything I have gathered from researching it. The first Westerner to mention the records was Helena Petrovna Blavatsky in her Theosophical Doctrine, but she didn't mention or use the term Akashic. Alfred Percy Sinnett coined the term Akashic Record in his book Esoteric Buddhism in 1883, and he credited Henry Steele Olcott's book A Buddhist Catechism from 1881, where Olcott said, Buddha taught two things are eternal, Akasha and Nirvana. The Akashic Records was then made popular in modern times through the Austrian occultist and social reformer Rudolf Steiner and the American psychic and healer Edgar Cayce, who both have claimed to have accessed the records in the early 20th century. Later, we received the sacred prayer from Johnny Prokaska. Johnny was originally from Spain with Czechoslovakian lineage. He and his family made their way to Mexico, where he received the prayer in Mayan, and then translated it into other languages to share with the rest of the world. He ended up moving to Texas, where he began teaching classes and information to people on ways they can access the records for themselves. Akasha is said to be protected by a group of non-physical light beings called the Lords of the Records. The Lords of the Records determine who can receive information and what information they can obtain. The information is then passed to the masters, teachers, and loved ones for you to download and apply to your life. Everyone has a different set of masters, teachers, and loved ones that appear. The ones we have are connected to our soul's purpose and journey within each lifetime. Some of our guides remain with us for many and or all of our lives. There are many ways for someone to access the records. If you are in touch with your spirit guides, they may aid you in reaching the records through meditation and intention. However, there is a specific way that is practiced today. This brings us back to Johnny. As I said earlier, he received the prayer to access our records while in Mexico. The prayer was originally written in Mayan hieroglyphs and then first translated to English and Spanish before other languages. The prayer has come in two forms. One is for reading your own records, and the other is for reading other people's records. The prayer is meant to be read and not recited from memory, because the way it was written is very important. Changing just one word changes the vibrational frequency and intention that has been poured into it through the years. As I said earlier, anyone and everyone can access the records for themselves, but you can't just read through someone else's records without their permission. The Sacred Pathway prayer for accessing your records consists of 2 paragraphs. It is meant to be read once out loud and then 2 times silently within your head. This is meant to connect the physical, mental, and emotional body so we become focused with the intent of reaching the Akashic Records. You also have to use your name to open it, and it is recommended to use your full legal name to gain access to information, because there is a different vibrational frequency within every name. If you have a nickname or you have just changed your name, it depends on how long and how much energy has been given to it to determine if it will work. It's not impossible to reach Akasha if you use a nickname or a new name, but it may be more difficult. It is also recommended to do your regular meditation and grounding work beforehand to help align yourself yourself with the frequency to better access the information. Once you are in, you may also feel an immediate energy shift or pressure near your crown chakra as information flows through you. But you can also not and just have an inner knowing. Some people navigate through the Akashic Records using a dowsing method that involves a pendulum. Others align their heart chakras and receive mental or visual downloads. Some people picture it as the library of everything, while some see it as the book of life. It could be a Zen temple, or maybe just a feeling. It really varies from person to person. But something I find incredibly interesting is that when aligning yourself with the energy, having your eyes closed is kept to a minimum. It's reached through open eye meditation. There are also 3 different levels of training for the Akashic Records. Doing readings for other people requires a different practice. Even just doing it for yourself, you need to strengthen your intuition and gut feeling. Doubt is easy to fall into, but with training, you will gain more confidence, and with that, you will begin to identify what information is true and resonates. You should also take these steps little by little. It's not recommended to have your records open for long periods at first, because it's a lot of energy and can be taxing. Then once you're comfortable with accessing your records, you can start lengthening the time you spend within it. After you finish a session of opening your records, you need to remember to close them. This could be verbally closing them out loud or within your head. Also, remember to go easy on yourself. It's normal to encounter interference when starting out. Each time you practice, you will be developing and sharpening your inner wisdom. So don't give up if it's a skill you'd really like to develop. There are also a lot of teachers out there that have classes for learning about accessing your Akashic Records. While that's always an option, it's not a necessity. There are tons of books on it and free online resources. Always do your part of the research so that you can be informed. You shouldn't ever feel pressure to do something that doesn't feel right. Remember that. So, what kind of information can you receive within the records? Well, it depends. But I also want to note that it's not like a psychic reading. It's not so much yes, no, should or shouldn't. It's guidance and clarity on who you are and the situation at hand. It is channeled through an open mind and heart. All information within the records serves your highest good and comes from a pure, light-filled place. Anything other than that is not the Akashic Records. So some things you can figure out are your soul group origin, past lives, life lessons, your roles and gifts, guidance on situations, balancing chakras, clearing and cleansing energy, added protection and healing on a soul level, identifying influences from outside sources, your relationships with others, current challenges and circumstances, reoccurring dreams, addiction and codependency, inspiration, and so much more. If you do decide to start dabbling within your Akashic Records, it's good to journal it so you can learn more about yourself. It helps create a timeline and show improvement, and it's also a journey that might as well be documented so that you have something to look back on. So, with that, I feel today's talk is fleshed out enough that I'm happy. I would like to thank everyone again for listening and joining me here today. Stay tuned for after the break, where I will pull the weekly oracle card and leave off with a question for all of you to think about. See you in a sec. Wow. Okay, so here's the week 2 oracle. The card for this week is Lifting the Veil. It says, questioning everything. Anything unaligned must go. In the book, it says, things aren't always as they seem. This era is one of uncovering mistruths, so we can remember ancient truths. Everything is in a state of recall and realignment. Anything that isn't in harmony with the planet will not survive. This goes for society and the world at large, as well as in our own lives. If you pull this card, you're being called to energetically scan your life for things that may no longer be a vibrational match for who you are and how you've grown. To dismantle the systems and ways of being that once served you and others but no longer do. Some starseeds are here to lift the veil between the seen and unseen worlds, to shine a light on things that are inauthentic or unaligned with the survival and well-being of Earth, to stand for and protect those who don't have a voice, to look deeper and question everything that previous generations did not. Some starseeds cannot tolerate things that aren't congruent. They're here to bring society and humanity back into harmony with the planet and the creator at large. If we tolerate things in our life that aren't aligned and congruent with it, we add to the misalignment of the planet. You're being called to trust yourself, notice what's out of alignment, and then take the baby steps required to bring it back into harmony. This is no easy feat, but it's so worthwhile, both individually and for the planet. Wow. Okay. So this, I feel, fits what we were talking about today, and about discovering and uncovering things that align with you. So that's fitting. I also feel like it kind of went with the poem too at the beginning of the episode. But what do you think? Okay, so now for this week's question, it is, let's see, in what ways do you believe your personal journey contributes to the collective well-being of the world? Let that sit and think about that. So that wraps up episode number 2. To end off, I just would like to reiterate that my intention for this podcast is to awaken the dreamer within you. This will be through dreams, intuition, and so much more. I aim to teach you the importance of learning about yourself. I appreciate all of you who are and will be listening to this podcast. Thank you so much for just opening your ears. If you found this episode or my previous one insightful, chances are someone else you know will think so too. It'd be incredibly helpful and lovely if you shared it with them so that they may find something that resonates with them too. To hear more, please subscribe to my channel. To stay updated in between episodes or to contact me for episode ideas and feedback, please go to my website, angelinayoung.com, or follow my Instagram, which will be down below. I am always excited and open to hearing how and what you've dreamed of, so please do not hesitate to reach out. Thank you, my beautiful dreamers. This was Angelina Young on Journey Through the Dreamscape. Tune in next week for episode 3.